Good day mga idol, welcome back to Stock Market U. Pag-uusapan natin yung follow-on offering ni SGP, no? So, didiscuss natin key takeaways from SGP's prospectus. With great power comes great responsibility. Literally and figuratively pagdating kay SGP yan. Okay? So, hold on. Yan. Bakit nga ba nagpa-follow-on offering si SGP, no? Unang-una, si NGCP kasi nire-require yan na mag-offer ng at least 20% of its shares sa public, no? Pero medyo binali nila yan. Through SGP na follow-on offering, na magkakaroon sila ng 60% indirect control sa NGCP, no? Parang hitting two birds in one stone sila. Kasi yung share sale naman na follow-on offering ni SGP, maglilift sa public float niya na maging 20%. Kasi remember, no, na-suspend yung trading dito nung early part of this year dahil bumaba yung public float niya sa 0.25%. So, through this procedure, no, si NGC, kumbaga magagawa nila tong yung public float, may increase nila, and at the same time, yung NGCP na nag-require sila na mag-offer ng public shares, magagawa nila yun through SGP's follow-on offering. Okay? And may nabasa rin kasi ako sa business world na yung NGCP, yung Chinese partners nila doon, na 40% owned nila yung NGCP, they don't want na ma-dilute yung shares nila sa NGCP. Kaya gusto nila indirect yung offering. Kaya ginawa tong SGP. Okay? So, Synergy plans to use the proceeds of the stock offering to subscribe to non-voting preferred shares. Okay, ito nila ilalagay yan. Then, estimated net proceeds is 12 billion pesos. So, konting background lang, no? Si NGCP is a consortium by Filipino tycoons, Henry C. Jr., anak ni Mr. Henry C., and si Mr. Robert Kyoto Jr., siya yung sa Prudential Life din, na non-life. And may stake din siya sa isa sa mga listed sa PSE, which is si OPM. Okay, and their technical partner, State Grid Corporation of China, which owns 40% of the company. So, kung familiar kayo sa structure ni dito, CME, 40% doon owned by China Telecom. So, parang ganito din yun, state-owned. And then, eto naman, through Henry C. and Robert Kyoto Jr., through SGP, meron silang indirect ownership sa NGCP. Okay? So, NGCP is the sole and exclusive operator of the Philippines. In other words, monopoly. Okay? So, corporate structure, ito yung kung paano nila ginawa yan through their subsidiaries, no? Na para magkaroon sila ng 60% indirect ownership sa national grid. Through their subsidiaries na si One Taipan Holdings, Inc., Monte Oro, and then kay Mr. Kyoto naman, Pacific 21, then Calaca. And then the rest, 40% owned by State Grid International Development by China. Okay. So on June 30, 2021, in-increase nila yung authorized capital stock nila to 5.3 billion common shares. Okay? And then, kung makikita nyo itong transmission asset profile nila, no, itong 20,000 circuit kilometers, halos sakop nila from Luzon to Mindanao. Okay? Pero, hindi pa, kumbaga, may mga far-flung areas pa dyan na hindi nila covered. So, meron pa rin room for growth. And then, meron silang 41,000 MVA din. Okay? Basic info offer shares is 1,053,500,000 shares. Ayan yung around 20% public float, no, para umakyat sa 20%. With an over-allotment option of 101 million common shares. Offer price is 12 pesos. Stock symbol SGP. Then 25% nun sa retail na offer, and then 75% sa institutional. Okay. Tentative listing date, November 10, 2021. That's Wednesday. And then, follow-on offering to increase its public ownership to 20% na nire-require ni PSE. Excuse me. And then, stabilizing agent is UBS. Okay. Small investors can buy up to 1 million worth. Alright. So, pagdating sa numbers sa balance sheet, ito na yung after ng share swap, no? Kaya, as of na siya, June 30, 2021. Si SGP, meron siyang total assets na 347 billion pesos. Total liabilities, 249 billion pesos. Retained earnings, dito manggagaling yung cash dividends nila na i-declare, 60 billion pesos. And then book value per share is 23.61. Offer price is 12. The net income is 12.4 billion pesos. Current year to date for the first half of this year. And additional notes lang, no? The net tangible book value per common share would be 13.47. So, kanina may nakita tayo na book value per share is 23.61. And then, ito naman, net tangible book value is 13.47. Ang difference lang yan, itong net tangible book value, hindi nila kinocompute dito yung goodwill and other intangible assets. So, kumbaga, kung net-net lang ang pag-uusapan, dito ka titingin sa net tangible book value. And despite of that, no, ino-offer pa rin siya below net tangible book value. So, at a discount siya actually at 1.47. No? So, medyo okay, attractive yung ginawa nila. Sa net income naman, yun nga, nabanggit natin for the first half is 12.4 billion pesos. And then 2020, 23 billion, 2019, 18, 20 billion. So, consistent sila, no? And hindi sila hyper-growth na stocks, pati yung profit nila. Pero, predictable yung cash flow, no? Dahil dun sa business model nila. Return on assets is 7.8%. Good numbers pagdating sa ROE is actually nasa 5%. More than 20% or at least 20% considered as excellent. So, this one medyo okay lang. Good numbers lang. Diba? Net income margin, 51.7%. Yan yung mataas. Debt to EBITDA, 3.5. Medyo red flag yan, no? Kasi ang medyo kino-considered na medyo okay is around 1 to 2. More than 3 or higher, medyo mataas na yan. Okay? Pero medyo gets natin kasi capital intensive tong yung business nila. Okay. Pagdating naman sa dividends, projected na dividend yield is around 7%. Okay? Nakalagay din doon na si SGP may declare dividends equivalent up to 100% of the prior's net income after tax, no? Kung maaalala niya si All Day, meron silang ganitong policy din, pero nakalagay lang doon 10 to 30% of their income. So, ito, since medyo generous sila sa pagbigay ng cash div, up to 100%. Pero depende pa rin yan, no, for approval. Then, SGP may also enter, no, sa mga financing arrangement. Therefore, pwede silang hindi mag-declare ng dividends. SGP has not declared any dividends to its stockholders from 2018 dahil nga hindi pa nagkakaroon ng share swap doon. Now, moving forward, maka-expect tayo ng ganyan dahil meron na silang 60% ownership kay NGCP, no? Yung mga subsidiaries, si One Taipan, Pacifica 21, Monte Oro, Calaca, consistent sila sa pagbibigay ng cash dividends. And, gagawin nila yan most probably every quarter. Alright? Pag-usapan naman natin yung risk. NGCP, no, monopoly siya sa electricity transmission network. So, humaharap din siya, no, sa Senate scrutiny and threats of franchise revocation over a string of issues, including, no, kasama na dyan yung long overdue public offering nila and yung Chinese, yung allegations sa Chinese control. No? Etong article na to nabasa ko kay Nikkei Asia nung published noong October 25, 2021. Debt to equity naman na ratio is within 4 to 1. Medyo mataas din yan. No? So, kanina yung debt to EBITDA nila, medyo red flag. So, ganun din tong debt to equity ratio nila. Siguro dahil capital intensive tong company na to. Yung business din nila. The issuer is a holding company and depends on dividends and distribution from NGCP. No? So, meron silang 60% nga na indirect ownership. So, actually si SGP wala siyang significant business operation. So, lahat ng cash flow nila magdidepende sa NGCP. Okay? SGP, its cash flows and the determination of SGP's value is primarily dependent, yun na nga yung diniscuss natin, on the business and franchise of NGCP. Okay? Yun. And then si NGCP din is subject to significant and extensive government regulation. May expect mo na yan na every now and then mababalita tong si NGCP, no, and SGP. Dahil monopoly sila, parang si Meralco, diba, sa distribution naman ng power. Adverse general economic conditions, operational hazards, political or civil unrest. So, since may 40% ownership ang Chinese dito, I think may political risk din kasama yan. Okay? Historically, tropical cyclones have posed the most serious threat to NGCP's operations due to the frequent impact of typhoons. So, kasama din yan. There's no assurance that future developments in regulations and technology will not introduce competition, which would erode natural monopoly the NGCP current benefits from. Alright? Okay. Ano naman yung strengths ni NGCP, no? Anyway, mapapansin nyo yung discussion dito, puro NGCP, no? Kasi yung business operation nanggagaling sa kanya, hindi naman kay SGP talaga, no? Meron lang siyang, kumaga, 60% ownership, pero yung business operations na kay NGCP. Okay? So, number 1 na strength niya, sole power transmission operator in the Philippines. So, therefore, monopoly nga, no? NGCP is a leading Southeast Asia transmission company and the exclusive operator of the transmission network in the Philippines. Right? And the number 2, operation in a sizable market with growth potential. For the past few years, meron siyang CAGR or compounded annual growth of around 6%. And nakalagay din dito sa study nila, no, sa by 2025 up to 2040, yung compounded annual growth hovers pa rin around 6%. So, medyo steady yung cash flow nito. Hindi siya kumbaga hindi siya hyper growth. Hindi ka makakita ng mga 20%, 30% growth. Pero stable, no? Sabi nga ng kaibigan ko, parang pang-tita daw tong investment na to kay SGP. Okay? So, the Philippines ranks as the second most populous amongst countries in the Association of the Southeast Asian Nations. Meron tayong population estimated at around 108 million noong 2020 and nag-expect sila na mag-grow yan ng 1.5 million every year. So, syempre, pag dumadami ang tao sa Philippines, yung demand din tataas, okay? Kasama yan, kailangan ng electricity. Otherwise, nahirap gumalaw, di ba? In 2019, the Philippine annual electricity usage per capita stood at 981 kilowatts per hour and tataas yan ng 1,000 plus by 2025. Nasa study nila. Okay? And then, when benchmark against its peers countries, the Philippines in comparison lang, 2019 per capita electricity usage is significantly lower tayo, no, compared to other members sa ASEAN, no. Kagaya ni Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Thailand. So, pagdating din kasi sa internet, yung penetration, kasama din para medyo mababa pa yung penetration. So, marami pang room for growth dito sa electricity. Hindi lang tayo basta-basta makakita ng to the moon na growth, no? Pero steady siya. Kumbaga, meron pa rin room for improvement in the next few decades. Okay. Tapos, meron din siyang strong cash flow visibility backed by stable regulated regime with performance rewards, no? Regulated to ni ERC. And nabasa ko rin sa prospectus, meron siyang performance rewards, no, para kapag konti lang yung tripping or in other words yung mga mistakes nila, meron din makukuhang somehow bonus or benefits or performance rewards si NGCP. Okay? Return on assets niya hovers around 6 to 8%, pero yung EBITDA margin niya medyo mataas yan. So 81% ng 2020. Okay. Yung strategies naman ni NGCP, no, para mag-expand. Actually, for the 13 period between 2021 hanggang 2033, nag-commit sila to invest approximately 440 billion pesos pagdating sa CAPEX across 211 projects with 160 billion pesos will be invested 2021 hanggang 2025. So, yung majority ng CAPEX nila in the first few years doon nila ilalagay yon. Okay, ito yung mga projects nila, no, from moving forward, yo. So iba-iba. Okay, from Luzon to Mindanao. Okay, annual capex, so for 2021, NGCP has budgeted 38.9 billion pesos as capital expenditures, of which 9 billion has been spent as of June 30, 2021. So, the rest, ilalagay din nila yan kasi for the whole, 2021. Okay? So, kung makikita nyo rin dito yung capex nila, increasing din. Alright? So, itong si NGCP naman, nag-i-invest din sila sa renewable energy, no? Kasi doon na nga tayo papunta no, sa ESG investing. So therefore, nag-invest din sila sa renewable technology space. So from 2011 to 2020, meron silang 56 billion has been invested by NGCP into transmission projects that benefited from the delivery of power from existing and new hydro, geothermal, wind, and solar power plants. Okay, so nakikita na nila no, kasi and ire-require din kasi moving forward kailangan na natin magkaroon ng clean energy, otherwise yung climate change. All right, and then no amount of the proceeds will be used to discharge any outstanding debts of SGP or NGCP. Yun, lakas, diba? So madami raw silang cash. Additional info, NGCP owns parcels of land, nakita ko rin yan, that are not yet registered in its name. So baka once na maayos nila yan, baka makatulong din na makadagdag sa total assets nila. Alright. So, sa clean energy naman na scenarios, ito yung binigay nila na projection. So, by 2030 and 2040, ito yung breakdown ng energy. So, kung ang napansin ko dito, yung coal, no? Kahit na alam na natin na dapat tanggalin na yung coal, hindi rin siya basta-basta. Yung transition para maging 100% clean energy, hindi basta-basta. Kasi by 2040, medyo malaki pa rin yung stake ng coal, eh. Diba? And mapapansin mo rin dito yung solar by 2030 and 2040 magiging malaki na yung role niya sa clean energy. Okay? And another reference then by 2030, ito yung scenario. So yung coal, no, makikita mo, no, kahit na bumaba siya from 41%, yung trajectory kahit na pababa, still malaki pa rin yung chunk niya. And then yung solar, lumalaki yung pie chart niya. I mean, yung pie niya dun dito sa sharing. Okay. Then, next is coal, solar, and then hydro. Alright. And then, itong si NGCP, hindi rin sila nag-rest sa laurels. No? Hindi ka pwedeng magpakampante dito. Kaya, syempre, nag-i-invest din sila sa research and development. Okay. So, from 2018 to 2020, nag-i-invest din sila from 30 plus na millions to 32, and then 2020 is 59 million. Okay. Sa capitalization naman, nag-increase sila ng authorized capital stock, no, to 5.3 billion. And then the current common shares issued and outstanding is 4.2 billion. Plus yung i-offer nila na 1 billion common shares na mag-represent sa 20% public float, that would translate to around 60 billion market cap. Si SGP. Okay? So, yung 60 billion market cap na yun, tapos meron silang income na around 20 billion per year, and then dividend yield of around 7%. Not bad. Okay? Demand and supply fundamentals. So, nung 2020, actually, ang electricity natin, yung GDP growth natin, yung economy, is correlated dun ang electricity. So, kung mapapansin nyo dito, noong 2020, bumaba yung chart, yung growth niya, no? Dahil yung commercial space nawala kasi halos lahat work from home. So, by 2021, I'm expecting, no, na medyo magbabounce na yan. And then, moving forward, pag nag-relax na ng mga lockdowns, no, tataas na ulit yung consumption sa electricity. Okay? And final conclusion, dito sa SGP and GCP din, demand is inelastic. So, regardless, kahit anong mangyari, hahanap-hanapin pa rin ng tao electricity. Kasi need siya. Okay? And then, complying to laws and regulations, controls, is imperative. Important yan. Kasi makakaharap sila ng maraming scrutiny every now and then. Kasi electricity, eh. Okay, and then monopoly pa yung business niya. Lahat kailangan yan. Good track record, NGP has been able to maintain its stable financial performance and operations regardless of disruptions in the economy. So, yun na nga yung inelastic demand. And then, natural monopoly of utility service. And then, yung offer price niya is quite attractive compared to its book value per share and of course, yung net tangible book value niya. And then, so overall, for me, looks like upside outweighs the risk. So, ayun mga idol, no? So, kung tingin nyo naka-add ng value to sa inyo, share nyo na lang din, no? Para mapanood ng iba. So, hold on. Thank you for watching mga idol and have a nice day. Stock Market You, forever student of the game.